Welcome back, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to the many ways white America has got me fucked up, okay? I'm your hostess for this hypnosis, bringing you the latest dose of white shenanigans occurring against black folk. For those of you who claim that racism doesn't exist and is a thing of the past, this channel provides you with straight facts that racism is alive and well and still affects us today. So sit back and relax and enjoy the pure white foolery we face daily.
We do not understand white supremacy. We will be confused about who's being used to do what, against whom. I advocate that people, black people, non-white people, begin to look at it like a chessboard and understand that if people who classify themselves as white are playing for white genetic survival, then they cannot do the things that black people expect them to do, like help across the board.
Within the last month or so, there has been an increase of police brutality being displayed on social media. Anti-blackness in police departments is nothing new. We black folk know this. Harsh policing from outsiders coming into our communities is a known fact in the black community. There are 2 words and 6 letters we need to start asking ourselves, and that's how and why. Why have black folk continue not to just receive harsher policing and punishment, but get hunted by the police? How has this affected us? And why this shit will continue after 2020, okay? So let's get into it. How did law enforcement begin? In the early 1700s, South Carolina was the first to implement slave patrols.
Slave patrols were groups of white volunteers who used vigilante methods to enforce laws related to slavery. These volunteers, located and returned enslaved people who were on the run. They intercepted uprisings led by enslaved folk and punished enslaved workers who were violating plantation rules regardless of proof, and they were allowed to forcefully enter anyone's home if there were suspicions of someone helping black people escape slavery.
By the early 1800s, centralized police departments began to form in Boston, New York City, Chicago, and Philly. The police officers were majority white and were more focused on keeping people in line than actual crime.
The early 1900s were all about controlling vulnerable communities. During this time, there were few qualifications to become a police officer, and there was little training. This is where you will start to see the increase of black male incarceration. During this time, black officers were very few in number, they faced discrimination on the job, and they worked in their own neighborhoods.
Finally, there's the Klux Klan, or the KKK, which was born in December of 1865 by 6 white men.
Like wildfire, the Klan grew from its origin in Pulaski, Tennessee, to all over the South. These white men would lynch, mutilate, shoot, and flog black people during the Reconstruction era. Their goal was to limit the power black people gained as citizens in America, and they succeeded. By the end of the Reconstruction period, Klan terror had proven very effective at keeping black voters away from the polls. Some black office holders were hanged and many, many more were brutally beaten. As a result, white Southern Democrats won elections easily and then passed laws taking away the rights black folk had won during the Reconstruction period. And yes, the KKK, a domestic terrorist group, still maintains its status as an active organization.
In 1959, Malcolm X received a copy of a letter that was intercepted by a source from the NYPD. The letter was written by Imperial Wizard J.B. Stoner for the Atlanta chapter of the KKK to the New York City Police Commissioner Stephen P. Kennedy. So this is where the rabbit hole runs deep, okay? The letter describes in great detail why the need to have KKK members infiltrate the NYPD. So let's review, shall we? In the book Seventh Child, written by Rodnell P. Collins, which is the nephew of Malcolm X, Malcolm provides a letter that was intercepted by a source of the NYPD. All right. This letter is addressed to the police commissioner at the time, Stephen P. Kennedy. So, the letter was written by J.B. Stoner, who was the Imperial Wizard of the KKK in Atlanta. This is what the letter looks like. I highlighted some stuff. You see how they got like the scriptures of the Bible, you know, right here. So yeah, we about to get into this, okay? So you see the letterhead, Christian Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, National Headquarters, Atlanta, Georgia. It addresses the Honorable Stephen P. Kennedy, Police Commissioner of New York. They want the letter to be confidential and top secret, all right? And it's regarding the black Muslims. So it starts off with, Dear fellow white man, the Christian Knights of the KKK is composed of all loyal white people, both Catholics and Protestants, native-born and foreign-born, young and old. We are working to unite all forces of white Christendom in the struggle to preserve the great white race. The future of civilization depends upon the survival of the beautiful, intelligent white race, the barrier of the Christian truth. You and I, okay, the letter goes on to say you and I, you as in he's addressing the police commissioner, Stephen Kennedy, and I as in, you know, J.B. Stoner, the Imperial Wizard, okay? You and I must join forces to stop the black Muslims now, or they will soon drive every white person out of New York City. The largest city in the world will then be an all-nigger city of black supremacy, where white people will not be allowed to live. So pretty much he's just assuming that we will do the same bullshit that they doing, we'll do on them, okay? Without the support of the Christian Knights, the Muslims will continue to force you to retreat until you and the great Mayor Wagner and all other white officials and judges will be forced from office. Don't let the black Muslims fool you when they demand entrance to schools in white neighborhoods or demand houses or apartments in white areas. And I'm not reading you the whole letter. This is just snippets, you know, just because this is long, full of just vile hatred, just disrespectful. And then this is where it gets interesting. This is the promise. This is where J.B. Stoner makes a promise to the police commissioner, okay? Police Commissioner Kennedy, my dear friend, I know I offer you the service of the Christian Knights of the Ku Klux Klan for the purpose of maintaining white supremacy in New York City and for keeping New York niggers in their place. I think 5,000 Klansmen could clean up Harlem for you if you would give them police badges and New York police uniforms to wear instead of their Klan uniforms. They will leave their Klan robes at home, so the New York niggers won't know that your police reinforcements are white Christian Klansmen. You can use our Christian Knights as guards to protect every white business in Harlem and also in other New York areas where nigger customers are giving trouble to white businessmen. After all, how do the black jigaboos expect to live without white businessmen to sell them what they need? You can also use our Klansmen to escort white salesmen into Harlem and other places of New York City that are suffering from the Black Plague. I cannot make this shit up. This is like written like right here. It's like right there. All that orange. And then this is how they cover it up, okay? How J.B. Stoner concludes the letter is also interesting. It makes you think, okay? Just think. He says, well, he writes rather, in case you decide to keep our plan secret, remember that the secret might leak out. And that secret is what I just said when he's talking about giving, pretty much donating 5,000 Klansmen to the NYPD. Okay? In case you decide to keep our plan secret, remember that the secret might leak out. In case of a leak, strongly deny that you have called for the support of the Christian Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. Yours for Christ, race, and country, J.B. Stoner. So, remember when I said the KKK is still an active domestic terrorist group? Think about all the white politicians, doctors, lawyers, and police officers that the KKK had the potential to infiltrate throughout the years. No wonder we have so much anti-blackness in law enforcement and other systems in this country. This is why the modern day lynching of black folk will continue. We are not realizing the gravity of the situation or system that we are living in, okay? Although I love a good conspiracy theory, I am not a conspiracy theorist. I'm giving you straight facts. That was in 1951 that letter was written, okay? That wasn't that long ago, and who knows how many letters were written like that and were sent off to, police departments or whatever. The caucasity is very, very concerning. In my opinion, black people are in some deep doo-doo. We do not need politicians dressed up in our garments kneeling. Whomever the black Democrat was that approved that shit needs to be fired. We do not need these big corporations tweeting and posting Black Lives Matter just so we can stay committed to funding their pockets. We do not need these basehead celebrities representing us and saying basehead ass shit on our behalf. We are more than a hashtag. Let's have a conversation about how the banks and insurance companies were built on the commodity of slave labor. Now they want to remove Confederate statues, but don't want to teach the true history of those statues in grades K through 12. It's like we're feeding into what white supremacy wants, okay? We all need to start asking the 2 words and 6 letters. How and why? How and why? We have to learn about our true history. We need to invest in our communities. We need to build up our own communities. We have to demand the acknowledgement and accountability of white politicians that their forefathers, and even some of them are still alive, y'all. Like, some of them are old enough that they're still alive, and them and their forefathers need to take acknowledgement and accountability that they created a fucked up system. And once we have that, black folk, we need to move accordingly. Study the game of chess. We can and we will outsmart the system, but we must learn who the opponent is, okay? Once again, them white folks had us fucked up today. If you would like to learn more about what was discussed here, click on the links below. Comment your thoughts and knowledge below. Subscribe to this channel. Like and share this video. Until next time, stop what you're doing and learn something, or history will repeat itself.